All right, I'm going to attempt to do this as fast as possible. So there are two ways to start doing a sketch. I'm doing some mountains, and I have my little ski chalet down here. And what's a ski chalet? It's basically a little hotel, little cabin. And maybe I have some trees down here. I'm not drawing with a stylus, I'm drawing with my finger on a track pad because I'm doing this at my house. So that's why these look a little janky. All right, so let's say I'm like, well, I'm not super happy with that sketch. I think I want to do another one. I'd make a new layer. I hide that one, and maybe I want to simplify things even further for myself. Right, that's one way to do the sketches. You do it in a blue layer. That's totally fine. You can also just go for a grayscale straight off the bat, and you can start adding in your objects as gray, and you can fill them in as you go. Right now I'm working with a brush that is a little bit, if you can tell, it's like a little bit of a sponge that comes on with this sort of brushy kind of patchy style. I can turn the opacity up and then it will fill in more without it becoming kind of transparent. And I can turn the size up and down to kind of create these basic forms. Let's say I want my trees to be darker than my house. I will go onto a new layer and I will start adding the individual components. And you'll see why when we start coloring things, but you want every object in your sketch layer. That's fine if they're all on just one layer. But as you start adding the grayscale, that's when you want to start adding it on its own layer. So I might call this layer right now trees. If I go over here, double click, change the name to trees. And then I go back over, create a new layer so I can start filling in my house. So I can just fill it in with the brush, or I can take my paint bucket tool and I can fill it in this way as well. Now, if I think that that's too similar in color to the other trees, I can just go change that using the color picker and make it slightly less dark. And then again, something different for the mountain range. Might grab a new gray and fill in everything but caps at the top. And then I should be able to bucket that in. And then as you can see, this layer is above these tree and house layers. So I'm going to take it, hold it, and drag it till it's below, and now it's the background layer instead. And there's still this little invisible white line that you can kind of see right here. That's because it thinks I still want to have the outline I started with as my stroke. I don't, so I'm just going to hit the paint bucket tool twice. So I just clicked it a second time, and that kind of takes away that little white outline. Cool. Now I have my grayscale ready to go. Blocked in the mask, blocked in the grays, grayscale layer is done.